First order of business, looking at the minutes. Do we have any corrections to the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All right, Chris and Trisha for the first and the second. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, minutes are approved. Oh, I can hear myself.
I know, I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right, next up is public comment. Do we have any public comments? No, any public comments online? Anyone on Facebook?
I see no hands raised.
All right, anyone on, are we doing Zoom today too? So no hands raised on Zoom, no hands on Facebook. All right. Last call for public comments. Seeing none. All right, next item on the number one business item, or item number one, discuss and take action on specific implementation plan for Badgerland Properties, 2 office warehouse buildings, a future parcel north of 1100 Frank H. Street in the Waunakee Business Park. This was tabled last meeting. It's on page 7 if you're following along in your packet. All right, over to you, I think, Tim.
Thanks very much. I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me a moment. There we go. Okay, what you're seeing on the screen is the location for this project. It's on the north side of Frank H, just a little bit east of the what was referred to as the Murphy Building, headquarters for JPL, now their office space. Anyway, so this site was the site of a proposal for 2 office and flex space buildings. This was postponed last meeting for additional review, primarily related to the architecture of the southerly building. There we go. So since the last meeting, staff did receive updated site plan modifications that address most of the comments that were brought up. So this site plan depicts the revised lighting plan, landscaping plan. As you'll note, you may recall there were originally 2 drive openings on the south side of the site. Right now, this has 1. As shown. So most of the items most of the items that were brought up at the last meeting were addressed. However, the architecture of the building on the south has been changed. Primarily the exterior building materials have been changed. The original submittal included a fair bit of corrugated metal siding. This is now inclusive of stone veneer and LP Smart Side. The massing and color of the building essentially has remained unchanged, but the building materials are more consistent with what's called out in the GDP. So staff is recommending approval. However, it's certainly within your purview to further discuss and evaluate this building design and exterior building materials. So I'll leave this up on the screen for discussion.
All right, thank you. So let's open it for discussion. Who would like to start? Okay, all right, go ahead, Kevin.
I appreciate the owner going back and doing the things that we talked about. There's a reason we have these standards, and I've seen it for a long time here in Waunakee, that it keeps everybody's values up. And I think it's the right thing for what we're doing here. So I appreciate that.
Any other comments?
No, I agree. I think what we asked for last time just was to be in line with what has already been developed in the business park. I think they met this in this design.
Other comments?
I would echo the same sentiments. I appreciate the efforts, and I would move forward with this from my perspective.
Joe?
Kind of a question here, I guess. The recommended motion doesn't include, it just says per staff recommendation. Do we need to include any sort of language in there to the satisfaction of the community development director and village engineer, anything like that? Given that there's still some items outstanding?
That'd probably be appropriate.
Okay.
Chris, did you have anything?
No, nothing else to add. I agree with others.
All right. All right, and Chris Sellner?
No comments.
No comment. All right. Excellent. So the additional language would be then Yes, Brian.
So I think you can kind of steal it from the staff recommendation. You could say motion to approve a site plan for 2 office/flex buildings situated north of Frank H. Street, subject to final approval of the community development director and village engineer and contingent upon execution of a certified survey map separating the premises from the parent parcel.
I'll make that motion.
All right, I'll second it.
Okay.
All right. All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's move to question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I will be abstaining as I have affiliation through my employer.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. Motion passes. And that was Brian and I for motion and second. All right, item number 2, discuss and take action on specific implementation plan for Acupanda Acupuncture Salon and Spa, 1129 Stevenson Lane in the Arboretum Office Center. And this is an item for final action. So Tim.
Thank you. What you're seeing on the screen is the location of the site, 1129 Stevenson Lane in Arboretum Office Park. The site plan shows an approximate 1,800 square foot building located approximately in the center of the site, surrounded by parking stalls and access drives to the north and west. Oops, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Let me start that over for the home audience. This is an 1,800 foot clinic sited in the central portion of the site at 1129 Stevenson. Access comes from the north on Quinn Drive and the west on Stevenson. Couple items raised in the staff report from Strand. One of the things, in addition to that, I wanted to bring up was the prominence of the trash enclosure so close to the right of way. There's not a lot of screening around that. The materials aren't included in the submittal for that. So staff is looking for additional information regarding that, but also looking for the Plan Commission to for some more suggestion regarding that particular element in terms of would you like to see more screening or not, since it is located so conspicuously to the street front. One of the other things I wanted to point out regarding the staff report, and this was from Strand, they had reference to a village ordinance, section 58, that refers to driveways or access points. It says this section of the municipal code allows for only one access point to village streets for any lot. That's not quite true. The actual reading is the number of driveways to serve an individual property fronting a street shall be 1. Since this is fronting 2 streets, one could assume that 2 points of access to this lot could be approved. There are 3 other sites within Arboretum Office Park that also have 2 access points. So with that, I guess that's generally it. Staff is generally recommending in favor. Oh, one last thing, the Architectural Review Committee for Arboretum Office Park did sign off on the plans, and those are reflected in the revised document that was included in your packet.
All right, thank you, Tim. Let's open the floor for discussion. Does anyone have a comment they'd like to start with? Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Sure, I'll start. I guess the first question I have, do we have the applicant here? Okay. I don't know, you probably go up to the podium so we can.
Well, I'm Svet Rusif, I'm the engineer / building designer.
Sorry, what to do is that button? Push the button for green.
Push the button. Okay. My name is Svet Rusif. I'm with Rusif Engineering Solutions, RES, and I'm the engineer and building designer for the
Okay.
project. And this is Jason Jackson.
Yeah, with Harmony Construction Management, I'll actually be building the project for the owners. The actual owners are not able to make it this evening, so
Okay.
we're representing.
So I don't know if you'll be able to address this or not. There's an area that's specified in the building for flex space. Do you know what the intended use of that would be?
Truly a flex space. She was talking about yoga, other classes, more where you could have 10, 15 people in a room for some type of health class, fitness class, something to that effect. Her main office is, of course, acupuncture.
Sure.
That's what she does. But
Okay. In light of that, is there any concern? I assume that that use is consistent with the GDP for that area?
That's correct. I've got pulled that section from the GDP. Yep,
Perfect.
training centers are a allowed use.
Okay, excellent. Let's see here. Oh, it sounds like we're okay, at least ordinance wise with the multiple accesses. What else did I have for notes? There was a comment somewhere in here about the setback. Is there any concern from staff with that setback, the way it's drawn? Okay,
No, let me pull the section from the GDP. Yeah, front yard is minimum 25 feet. In addition, the front 20 feet of each lot shall be unobstructed and shall be maintained as landscape area except for driveways and ingress and egress points. So no, I mean, the short answer is no.
it's back further
It's
than a lot of
situated
others, but-
back. It may look subjectively a little out of place relative to some of the other developments in the office park due to its size, but in terms of setbacks, it's fine.
Okay. And another one for you guys. Do you know if there's an intent to sort of build this with a preparation to be able to expand in the future?
Yeah, if you want to flip back to the site plan quick. That's one of the reasons when we sat down with her at first, so it would be to the east, so that's why the building's kind of situated where it is. If we want to ever put an expansion on, she can expand her clinic to the east there where the cursor is, yep. So that is the intent, that at some point, if she needs more expansion, that she can move that way.
Excellent. Okay, I think that's everything I've got.
All right, other questions, Kevin?
So is the parking that's shown for that entire space, including the flex space right there, that's what's required?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. And any future expansion would just have to have parking included.
If a building expansion, then that would have to be revisited.
Thank you.
I have a similar question. Is there any parking overflow? Because like they said, the flex space may have up to 15 people in there, there's only 14 spots.
Yeah, the site is actually parked purely from the acupuncture use. So there are, I think, 3 or 4 additional stalls.
Okay.
Chris?
Mine actually is with your garbage comment, the screening and such, but also if there's anything being done, assuming with acupuncture, there's going to be needles, lots of them, and how that's being addressed.
I don't have that answer with her business, but I'll get it for you. I think a lot of it may be sanitized and reused, because I know when we were going through some of the requirements, we had to have certain hand sinks and wash sinks for certain utensils, so I don't know that for sure, but I'll get you the answer.
Yeah, I'm just more on the disposal side of it to
Yeah,
make sure we're
yeah.
good.
Tricia?
Tim, it looked like you were looking for some more feedback on the trash enclosures. I guess specifically the question, I don't see much in here at all about the trash enclosures. Maybe I'm missing it.
No, that was my point.
Okay.
So more information is needed, but from staff perspective, since it is fairly close to the street right of way and prominently seen in staff's judgment and per the GDP, those types of appurtenances, for lack of a better word, probably could use a little bit more screening through vegetation, especially without knowing what the materials are going to be for the refuse enclosure.
Okay, so does that be something you would be looking for them to come back with a little more detail on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just what we've shown here, the intent is we'll have a CMU block on 3 sides, and then the gates is on the other side. So yeah, we can provide the details, yeah.
And I think that the size of this, they don't produce a lot of refuse in their business either, so I actually think that size is probably will come down a little bit once we get that final word from her too, so.
I stole this from Arby's, on 19 detail.
Excellent. Brian?
I'd be a little concerned with cinder blocks myself. Going into a residential area there, I think we've got to be a little more aesthetically pleasing with the blocking of the dumpster area and then some additional screening. And I'm assuming there's no stormwater issues here with the ponds and everything, right?
Correct.
Okay, but yeah, I would definitely want to see something a little different on that.
So question or clarification then on that piece, would you be comfortable with allowing per staff approval, or would you like to see that come back to this body?
As long as it's consistent
With the
what we-
materials and
what
the-
we've
yep.
done in the past, yeah.
All right, so speaking of, lots of questions. My question was about expansion as well. Staff approval, or what do you guys want? Staff approval, all right, would be all right.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Any other discussion that we've got? Any other comments? No? All right, anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll move to approve the SIP, subject to final approval by the Community Development Director and Village Engineer.
Second.
All right, motion by Joe, second by Kevin. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's go to question. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Extensions? All right, motion passes. Item number, thank you, guys. Yeah. Item number 3, discuss and take action on a certified survey map combining lot 33 and outlot 8, Arboretum Village at 1101 Quinn Drive. And this is an item for recommendation to the village board.
So this property, as shown on the screen, is just down the street a little bit to the east. So 1129 Stevenson is where the cursor is right now on the screen. If you head eastward on Quinn, the 2 subject properties are just a couple lots down. So what the applicant is really doing here is because the postmaster, the Waunakee postmaster has indicated that small outlot 8 is no longer needed for cluster mailbox units. They want to combine that little triangle piece with the main residential lot. So it will be just combined to make a bigger lot. No new homes will be added. Density will remain the same. It's just a lot combination. But because of the nature of this being one lot, one outlot, the recommendation, if this body so chooses, would be to bring this to the village board. But it's a pretty straightforward request because of the mailbox or the indication that that's no longer needed there.
All right, thank you very much, Tim. Any discussion?
I move to approve.
Second.
All right, so motion by Tricia, second by Chris. Any discussion?
Yeah, one additional question here. I'm glad that we've got documentation that that they don't need it. What would happen in the future if, for whatever reason, they continue down this road and go, oh, we really should have held on to that?
Yeah, good question. So there are several other outlots within this plat that are identified for CBUs. And what would likely happen is one or more of those sites, the mailboxes would be added, but I think there should be all accounted for in this development.
Okay.
All right, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion passes. Item number 4, initial consultation proposal for a 60-room cobblestone hotel with dining facility to be located on the north side of Frank H. Street in the Waunakee Business Park. No actions necessary on this. This is an initial consultation. And I believe to you, Tim, first.
Right, I'll give a very brief overview. So this site is the eastern half of the site we were looking at earlier, the first agenda item on the north side of Frank H. So the members of the applicant team are here, Bill and Anna representing Cobblestone, and I'll just simply turn it over to them. They've got a slide deck and I'll just walk through and you can listen to them. And again, really what they're doing is they'll give that presentation and look for your feedback as to whatever you may see, issues, pros, cons, et cetera, for this site before making a formal submittal.
I didn't even read this. Oh, so we're looking to do a 60-unit cobblestone hotel and suites with a chop house up on Highway 113 with access off of Frank H. Street. We've going to use the cobblestone flag. So this is just the surveys of the different parcels currently. It's the lot 2 that's going to be divided up, which is what Tim showed us earlier. So it's a 6.7 acres is the total of the 2 spots. The 3 acres on the left is the one where I'm building our office and the flex building, and then the hotel site would be to the right of it. We're anticipating to use a joint driveway on the 2 with cross easements on it, with stormwater for the hotel site down in the lower right-hand corner that you can do the south end on it. And then I believe the rest of it's hotel stuff,
Mhm.
isn't it? Yep. So I was just let Anna speak.
Yep,
about the hotel.
absolutely. Here's floor plans. If you have questions, I just wanted to give a real brief overview of Cobblestone for those who aren't familiar. We are an upper mid-scale hotel franchise. We are headquartered in Neenah, Wisconsin, the Appleton area. We've been a franchise since 2012. Our first hotel was in Clintonville, Wisconsin in 2008. So we specialize in smaller markets, small town America. So after Clintonville in 2008, today we have 169 properties open. We have 13 under construction and we are in 29 states. So this whole idea of building this upper scale lodging in small town America obviously really took off. So what we're proposing here, like Bill said, is our 60-room prototype. It's our main street, which means it's upper scale. So it's considered more of a boutique, if you would. And then also the Chop House is Wasota Chop House, which is also a franchise that we own. Wasota, closest to here, we have it in Janesville, Hartford, De Pere, Neenah, working on it in downtown Waukesha right now. So our biggest presence is still here in Wisconsin. So that's what we're proposing for this site. So here's floor plans of this model. Our elevations, and then we included some pictures too from, if you keep going. Oops, and then some of the words got a little messed up on that, but that's okay. But we'll build what's needed. So you'll see some different facades. We're doing a lot more stone now. We have some that have the brick, but we build obviously what fits into the community. So this one in particular is in Arkansas. You can keep going. This is Neenah, so with the brick, and then you can see the Chop House is included. It's open to the public. It's not just for guests. And then you can see, so it just fits into the corner here. It can be accessed from the front or from the lobby. Here is a picture of the Chop House, which also doubles as the breakfast. And then the warm lobby, like I said, and there's should be some more pictures of the Chop House coming. This will include a fitness center for guests. Starbucks coffee is served within, indoor vending for the guests, and then a boardroom that can be rented out for the public as well. This hotel will include 9 extended stay suites as well, which is what you're seeing here, which just has the additional kitchen and then the extra bedroom. Go ahead. And then here's the Wasota Chop House. So this was what you saw before the breakfast. So those close off, and then in the evening it's used for the Chop House. The Chop House is open. It opens at 4. We only serve dinner. All the beer on tap. There will be 30 beers on tap, all local to Wisconsin. The garage doors that will open up in the summer for the patio. I'm trying to think what else. That pretty much sums up. It's a higher end Chop House. And then here's the patio. And I think that's everything. Do you have any questions?
Right.
There is one
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
issue about the height.
There is, yeah, so we are over the height restriction. And this happens quite a bit in some of these communities we go into. So we would have to apply for a variance. And I think, is it 45 feet is the restriction? Okay, so we looked into it, and if you want to go back to the elevations. Oh, actually, we can go, okay, this works. Okay, so we can make it a flat, completely flat by getting rid of these bump outs. We can make it completely flat to abide by that, or we can apply for a variance. It's not livable space, it just enhances the aesthetic of it. So that's what we would be applying for eventually.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, what questions do we have? Anyone? Kevin?
I got a few questions. Is anybody else in there applied for a variance for height? Do you know of? I'm just curious.
Not necessarily a building, but I think we did do a variance for a flagpole height for one of the businesses in the business park.
Okay, I guess I'd be open to talking about that because it does look a lot better than
Yeah.
it would with a flat roof.
Mhm.
Two questions, just for curiosity's sake. What's the capacity of the restaurant?
Ooh, good question. Typically, I want to say it would probably hold close to 200, but we would not ever seat that much. It is a higher ticket meal. It's, I'm trying to think how many tables. It's not, I want to say 40, maybe 40 spaces. So it's open from 4 to 9 or 4 to 10, depending on which night of the week, but there's flexibility a lot of times too. So because it also doubles as the breakfast space, that can get closed off and that actually gets rented out a lot for private events, private dinners. So there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of different uses for the space.
And what about, what's a average room rate?
Okay, per what I can share, because we're a franchise, per our FDD of last year, I want to say it's close to $100 a night. But how that breaks out is we have our Main Street and we have our standard. And that takes the numbers of all of them, and that's across 29 states. So obviously staying a night, yes, in a 31 room in Iowa gets included in the average for a downtown De Pere. There was a feasibility study completed that gave their recommendations, and it obviously you could share that, but I wouldn't be able to. It was a lot higher than
Sure.
what our average is.
I don't have that number right off.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you probably don't have
I
it
think you
up.
would. Thank you.
No.
But it did, the feasibility study did show for a hotel between 60 and 80 rooms. And I've decided to take it at a smaller level.
Other questions?
I have a question. Is the Chop House outdoor seating, have to come back as a CUP?
The whole project would. So this use would be a conditional use in as per the GDP. So the whole plan would come in as part of the package.
All right, other questions?
No, it looks like a nice project. I wouldn't be adverse to going through a amendment on the height because of the being sitting lower than Highway 19 is already, so. Looks good.
Tricia?
No, I have long thought that we are undersupplied in nice lodging options for guests in Waunakee. I guess, given the CUP, if there's any other recommendations that staff would give or like give us guidance and questions we should be asking to help them prepare for that is.
Just one, and I think I may have pointed out on my summary sheet, and that has to do with parking. And I think Chris may have been going there or Kevin with the occupancy load of the bar area and the restaurant. There may be a need for more parking than what's shown on the site plan when you factor in that space plus the number of lodging rooms. But that would obviously be evaluated at the time of the CUP.
And there's plenty of room to add parking if we need it.
Excellent.
Is there any plans for the space to the south
None right now.
at this time, but left as a?
Yes?
No, I don't.
No, we really don't have anything planned for that. Just be green space at this point.
All right, Joe, did you have any questions?
Of course. Can you clarify ownership versus management of the property? What would,
So my company would own it.
okay,
We haven't decided whether we're going to do a third-party management company or manage it in-house yet.
okay. The other big question that I've got, because of where the driveway kind of works through there. If you're going to own this and you would own the property to the west as well, initially that all works. Long-term, if the hotel were to be sold or whatever, what's the plan for that driveway? And
We have to have cross easements.
Okay.
involved in it.
so that's pretty much the plan of how you
Yeah,
handle it.
we have
Okay,
to have a deed, total deed recorded on the deed.
perfect. Okay. And is there any sort of period of time that you'd be committing to flying sort of the cobblestone flag versus,
Not flying one?
Well.
I have no intentions of not flying one. I don't know the length.
I can answer that. Yep. So our standard franchise agreement, it's a 20-year agreement. There's a window at year 10 for both the franchisee and the franchisor. So if we feel that the ownership group is not doing their part to hold up our standard of cobblestone, we can choose to pull. Same thing for the group. If they are not happy with cobblestone, for whatever reason, they can pull that at year 10.
Excellent. Okay. And then I think the last thing. As far as this space, is there any sort of an intent? I trying to be a little bit careful about how I go down this road. Is there any intent to pursue any assistance with this project from the village or from anybody else?
We will be applying for some TIF funding on it.
Okay.
Other questions? Chris, no, none? I feel the same. We're very underserved in terms of hotels. I lived in Neenah for a while,
Oh, okay.
until 2009. So, I'm pleasantly surprised that you're a Neenah company.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to seeing this come forward. So thanks for bringing it up. And, I think, do we have any other questions or any other information that we should be providing, Tim, that aside from your comments, that would help them prepare?
No,
No?
not at this point.
All right. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For your time.
All right, Waunakee Westport Joint Plan Commission updates.
So there's one item on tomorrow's agenda that is a rezoning of lands south of Kennedy in the town of Westport, going from commercial to residential for a 38 lot, single family development.
All right.
And that item would be coming before the village board as the zoning authority.
Okay. All right. All right. Is that it? It's our business for the day. 33 minutes today, 33 minutes last time. I think we're setting a pattern here. We can hang around and chat, or if somebody might have a motion.
I'll make that.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Any question? All in favor?